Hello, I'm David.
And I'm Lucy.
Welcome to another Tudor Cameo episode. No, I'm sorry. In the script it says, these very short episodes. And I mean, does anyone fooled by that anymore?
This is about a pope. I mean, they're not going to be very short, are they?
So these episodes will be...
I think that describes it. They're episodes.
will be slotted around the regular ones, and we'll cover those characters who made a fleeting yet tantalising appearance in other episodes. Oh yeah,
that's another thing, because we've got more cameos than we have regular. So does that make the cameos the regular?
We've got a script now. We might have to rethink this for series 2.
I think we need to rewrite everything in this.
We don't always have a lot of information about them, but I think we do this time.
Yes, we do, yes.
So they clearly are having a full episode of their own, but they're too interesting to abandon completely, and they help fill in the gaps to enable us to create as full a picture of the era as we can.
This is one of the completely non-logical ones, because we've done Innocent, and we've done Julius, and we've done Alexander, and they've all had their own episodes. Mm-hmm. But for some reason, Sixtus and Pius have been given cameo episodes. Sixtus is because he's a little bit earlier.
Look, I mean, yeah, so that was the spiel, but realistically, enjoy an episode about Sixtus the Fourth. Oh, sorry, we haven't said who this was. And today...
Oh, surprise, surprise, it's Pope Sixtus the Fourth.
I'd never have guessed.
No. And he was born Francesco della Rovere. Yes, he's a della Rovere, which means I've got to pronounce... Oh, no, it's della Rovere. Oh, I've got that wrong already, della Rovere. And he's the reason we know the name so well, since he indulged in the most outrageous nepotism. Yeah. I mean, we've come across nepotism in all the popes we've done, but his was, off the scale, nepotism. So we hear a fair amount about the Della Rovere and the Riario.
Ah.
Yeah. So, it could hardly get worse, could it?
No. Well, I don't know. Throw in some Borgia and some Medici and...
Yes. Well, I'm sure we will. He was the son of a fisherman, which seems very biblical.
Yes.
And he's a man of two parts. We've got the Sistine Chapel and the Vatican Library, so very nice. Mm-hmm. And we've got the Spanish Inquisition and masterminding an assassination, so not so nice. And we could decide which of him was in the ascendant when we get to the end.
Yes.
If we remember. Because the end is a long way off. Early life. As a young man, he joined the Franciscan order, which is the nice one.
Yes.
It's not the Malleus Maleficarum one.
No.
And it's not the one you'd necessarily choose if you had your eye on the top job.
Yes.
And he was headhunted for the Franciscans since when he was 10, he could memorise great chunks of scripture and debate with adults on theology. Yeah.
Well, that's pretty good.
Yeah, precocious brat, presumably.
Well, yeah, but... Well, I mean, it's precocious in the right kind of area for the priesthood.
Yes, but I mean, nobody wants to hang around with the kids like that, do they?
Well, maybe that's why he was bundled off the Franciscans. They're mostly thoughtful animals. It's fine. Don't send him to the Benedictines, or he'll be in every play.
Yeah, and he won't draw a sober breath. He studied at the University of Pavia, and then went on to lecture at universities across Italy. In 1464, he was appointed General of the Franciscan Order, and I cross-referenced it because in the Patreon episode about Piero de' Medici that we've just done, we came across Piero's philosophy teacher who went in for the job of General of the Franciscan Order, and who, when he didn't get the job, threatened to kill the man who did. And I was hoping that Sixtus... He's not Sixtus yet, I'll call him Sixtus. Yeah. But I was hoping that he was going to be the one that the man wanted to kill, but I was way off in time.
Yes. I've already forgotten because I think about Sixtus. What was his real name? Della Rovere, I know, but what was his first name?
Francesco.
Francesco.
Oh, maybe that's why he joined the Franciscans.
That makes sense,
yes. 3 years later, Pope Paul II made him a cardinal with the titular church of San Pietro in Vincoli. Or Wincoli, as we say these days, St. Peter in Chains. So that passed down through the Della Rovere because that was Pope Julius's titular church as well. Before we started looking at the Patsy conspiracy, again, Patreon, which I'll come to in a bit, I had always heard that Sixtus was one of the good guys. He was a learned Franciscan. He seemed to be much closer to a Pope Pius III than a Pope Innocent. But none of our people are as they seem, are they? No. We've had some who've had a terrible reputation and turned out to be nicer, like the Crucis Borgia. But most of them, it goes in the opposite direction.
Well, I suppose the trouble is that when it comes to always one of the good guys, it kind of depends on your perspective. I mean, Pope Gregory, that they've just the later one they've just recently done on Pontifacts. He's supposed to be one of the really good ones, and he humiliated the emperor so much, I make him trudge barefoot through the snow, that he essentially created 2 centuries of anti-popes. And it's like, okay, I can see why you'd see he's good, but on the other hand, there's a time and a place, Gregory. There's a time and a place.
Yes. Often, once you get the great, is that really the great? Yeah. Well, it's not Sixtus the Great, so we don't have to worry about that. We know he was quite a pragmatic man, since he was the first to tax prostitutes. He saw them as a moral problem, but it wasn't going to go away, so you might as well make a bit of cash out of it.
Fair enough.
He was either a man who was good at avoiding factions, keeping all sides happy, a man who didn't upset anyone, or, as Dr. Pon Virulrak would have it in his psychological work on Sixtus, he was such a schemer that he managed to convince everyone that was what he was like. And I have to say, Dr. Pon Virulrak hasn't got a good word to say about any of the popes. I used him when I did the Innocent episode, and I ended up thinking, give over. He wasn't that bad. And we came out very much against him, but not as against him as Dr. Pon Virulrak. He became Pope in 1471, and Virulrak says that Sixtus was a bit of a Pope Pius III figure in that he was a stopgap. Because Pope Paul had died unexpectedly. So, let's get this man in until we can find someone more suitable. But he was only 57, and he seems to have been in fairly good health. So,
yes.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they assumed wrongly, he's just a Franciscan friar. He'll be really kind of sweet and, he'll just wander around giving lectures.
Yes, that's what everyone did think. That went down I don't like to say rabbit hole because it's a sort of podcasting cliche, but I mean, that's what it was, about conclaves, because they're always interesting. And in this one, Pope Pius had created, and that Pope Pius is the one before Pope Paul, but he had created 5 cardinals in pectore, which means in secret. Literally means in the chest. And I'd only come across one cardinal created in pectore before, and that was Giovanni de' Medici, and that was because he was 13. And it was obviously, dodgy deals had gone on. Yeah. And I was intrigued to find out why those 5 cardinals had been created in pectore. So I looked them up. Pedro Ferris, or Ferri, was a relative of the Pope and was illegitimate. So, make of that what you will. The cardinalizations of Pietro Foscari and Giovanni Savelli were made against the wishes of the Orsini family. So presumably the Pope was worried it would all kick off in Rome if they found out. Ferri de Cluny was made carnival, I had to get was made cardinal just before the Pope died. So it just wasn't announced in time.
Fair enough.
So it wasn't really secret, it was just, badly timed. John Vites, and we've come across him before again on Patreon. I really do stress to people that if you go over to Patreon, it does fill in an awful lot of gaps. He was Matthias Corvinus' tutor. And then he became Bishop of Esztergom and rebelled against Corvinus. And I couldn't work out why he was given his cardinalate. Cardinalate. Is that a word?
Yeah, cardinalate.
Yeah, sometimes you say things and it just echoes in your head and you think, no, that's not right.
He was given his red hat.
Yes, thank you. In pectore, except that since Pope Pius was very keen that Matthias should keep the Ottomans out of Europe, it might not do for it to get out that he had made Matthias's rebel a cardinal. So, anyway, we can scramble out of that rabbit hole now. I was just interested to know why these things were done in secret.
Well, I think it's quite topical, actually, because, I mean, the whole idea of a cardinal in pectore is very important to the book and the film Conclave that came out only a couple of years ago now. And I won't give any more spoilers on it, but it isn't done exactly the way it's done in the church, but it's very important that there's a secret cardinal in that film and book.
Oh, right. Yes, Michelle keeps nagging me to watch that. I'm fighting back at the moment.
The performances are very good. The actual kind of likelihood is pretty unlikely.
Right, okay. Now, I have very low tolerance of these things, and if I think, no, that's nonsense, I can't watch anymore. Don't waste my time. Not that I have better things to do, but... if you're a cardinal in pectore, you can't really vote because, it's secret.
Yes.
Sixtus was elected through the combined lobbying of Galeazzo Maria Sforza, live heir to a poacher, and Cardinals Gonzaga and Borgia. So not the sort of people you would think would elect a nice, gentle Franciscan.
No.
Borgia and Gonzaga hid their true intentions by voting for other people until the last minute and then changing back. Mm-hmm. Sneaky lot, these cardinals. His first act as Pope was to announce a crusade.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, we've still got 20 years of Corvinus, so Sixtus just took over from Pius, nagging Corvinus. Stop faffing about with Emperor Frederick and get on and fight the infidel.
Yeah.
You can't leave everything to Dracula. Again, Patreon episode reference. He's actually rather pretty, isn't he, Dracula? He's got this beautiful curly hair and this amazing moustache.
Yeah, I mean, and especially when you consider that his brother was the one who was known as the pretty one.
Yes, yes, to his detriment, poor bloke.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yes, don't be pretty in the Ottoman Empire. Sixtus sent papal legates across Europe exhorting the rulers to join the crusade, but it's been long enough ago since the fall of Constantinople in 1453 for the urgency to warn off. They were all very keen in 1453.
Yes.
But it didn't take long for them to think, well,
Mind you, who's he talking to at the moment? He's got Aragon and Castile are busy dealing with... We're dealing with more than our own country, thank you very much. The French are Louis XI, who's fighting with his own nobles. And
yes, or fighting with his dad, one or the other.
And Edward IV of England, sure, pass me that wine, will you?
Yes, yes. Yeah, he's quite louche, isn't he, old Edward? His next act, Sixtus's next act as Pope, was to start strengthening his position by creating several of his nephews, either cardinals or something else high up in the church. Mm-hmm. Before he was elected, Sixtus had promised that he wouldn't make any more cardinals until the number fell to 24. Once elected, that all went out the window. He made 6 of his nephews cardinals. Wow. And 6 is unprecedented. I mean, they all did it, but they didn't do it to the tune of 6. And that included Pietro della Rovere and, of course, Giuliano della Rovere, the future Julius II, whom we heard in his episode was made cardinal to keep Pietro company. I don't think much was thought about him at the initial. And Pietro Riario, and that is Girolamo Riario's brother. And if again, Patreon, the Caterina Sforza episode, we were not impressed with Girolamo Riario. Not in the slightest. Pietro Riario was thought to have been Sixtus's illegitimate son. Oh. And the fact we say it was thought to be shows that at this time, illegitimate children of the Pope were not acknowledged and certainly weren't given free run of the Vatican. That came in with Innocent.
Yes. So if that was his son, but was supposed to be his nephew, so clearly his brother's gone, oh, okay, fine, but you have to take him as a cardinal. It's not mine.
Well, he was brought up by Sixtus, so we
yeah.
assumed that the brother had died or something. Yeah. Pietro became one of the richest men in Rome.
Well,
And yeah, a bit of a leg up there. He died prematurely and suspiciously. And I should add that other sources say that Pietro and Girolamo Riario were actually Sixtus's lovers.
oh.
I don't know if that's nephews and lovers, or either or.
I mean...
We're just thinking, Renaissance Pope. I mean, wouldn't put it past them.
Honestly, the fact that both of those legends were, both of those accusations, that almost makes me feel maybe he just took his brother's children in and was being nice about it.
Yes,
and everyone...
yeah. Well, I think this lovers thing, it's probably a posthumous attempt to slur Sixtus. And they probably started with the illegitimate son and then realised that by that time, illegitimate sons were two a penny in the Vatican. So they went for the lover option. Whatever the truth about Pietro Riario, he was to die at the age of 28, either by poisoning or by dissipation. So neither of them particularly spiritual ways to go.
No.
I do get the feeling that perhaps he was dragged kicking and screaming into the priesthood. It didn't seem a natural place for him to be.
No. But this is where our power is, Pietro.
Yes.
But, I mean, what? You can't do this, you can't do that. And it's like, well,
Yes,
not
you
really.
can. Just be secretive about it. Everyone expected Sixtus to be mortified when Pietro died, but he wasn't really. It seems that Pietro had such a hold over his uncle that Sixtus resented him and actually was afraid of him.
Gosh.
Yeah, an example how, having tried to strengthen his position by creating a fortress of his own family around him, it rather backfired on him, as he was terrified of his own family. I mean, they're all very forceful characters, his nephews.
Yes. Maybe Giuliano wasn't put there so much to keep him company as to go, keep an eye on him.
Yes. Just keep him company, would you? The chronicler Stefano Infessora stated quite categorically that Sixtus was a sodomite and that when he was choosing his cardinals, he went in for delectable young men who might grant him sexual favours. I mean, who knows? I mean, this is a handy bit of mud to throw at anyone at this time. I looked at pictures of the cardinals created by Sixtus, and if it's true, he had quite an eclectic taste in men.
It's such a shame, really, because obviously, researching queer history is so difficult, especially when half the time you have to go, okay, it might be a slur. We kind of like it not to be a slur, but also it's like, oh, God, just someone.
And do we want it not to be a slur because we don't think he was gay, or because we just don't want it to be a slur?
Exactly, we don't want it to be a slur. And also with this one, it's okay, well, it's absolutely fine for him to be gay, but we don't really want him to be, appointing people on the basis that, okay, I'll give you a promotion if you give me, because then that's getting icky in a different kind of way.
Yes. Well, I don't believe it. Stefano Infessora was notoriously anti-papist, and he was on the Colonna side, and Sixtus had been made pope with the help of the Orsini. So I think Infessora was grinding axes all over the place. The 20th century papal historian Ludwig von Pastor, I said Pastor last time, he denied any of these rumours. I think they didn't sort of leap on them as much as we might do these days. And also, he didn't see anything wrong with Innocent VIII, so, well...
Fair enough.
Yes. Even those nephews who weren't made cardinals were given power and prestige and used in advantageous marriages. And over on Patreon, we heard how poor little Caterina Sforza was handed over in marriage to the boorish Girolamo Riario.
Yes.
A reason for this, now we're looking at it from his point of view, was that prior to his election as Pope, Sixtus had told the Duke of Milan, Galeazzo Maria Sforza, that as a native of Savona, which was under Milanese control, he saw himself as a vassal of Milan. He said that would continue after his election. The papacy would be at the disposal of Milan. Well, that didn't last, because he was Pope after all, and Galeazzo Maria was just some poxy duke. But it didn't do any harm to provide some solace for this by marrying his nephew to Galeazzo's granddaughter. And maybe that explains why Girolamo Riario was so keen to consummate the marriage, despite the fact that Caterina was very much a child. Maybe his uncle was telling him, don't come back till the marriage is completely secure.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Especially since Giuliano della Rovere, Julius, that is, had put forward his brother to marry into Milan and had then changed his mind. So, quick, Giuliano's just offended Milan. Get over there and marry that little girl. Whichever way you look at it, it's really very unpleasant. Very unpleasant. I can't remember if she was 10 or 11.
Oh, you can see why she, fought back a lot later on in life, can't you?
Yes. Yes, I think there was a point in her life where she suddenly thought, right.
Quattro fighi to the lot of you.
Another transaction the Pope made was with Ferrante of Naples. And Ferrante, politically astute as ever, suggested that one of Sixtus's nephews, Leonardo della Rovere, should marry one of the many Neapolitan princesses who just seemed to hang around the court waiting to be married off. I don't know how many he had. He just seemed to have an infinite supply.
Well, unless it's like Spanish infantas. Oh, yeah, we've got loads. Yeah, don't worry. Yeah. Definitely marry one of them. I won't tell you their name. It's probably Maria.
Well, Ferrante suggested a couple of disputed territories, Pontecorvo and Sora, should be given to Leonardo as a sort of wedding present. And Sixtus, to his benefit, he dug his heels in and said this was papal territory and, you can't give away papal territory to your nephews as a wedding present. But as usual, he didn't dig his heels in far enough and the deal still went through. And you get that a lot with Sixtus, all this, I'm not going to do it, I'm not going to, oh, all right. And Ferrante probably pointed out that he'd done exactly the same type of deal with Pope Pius's nephews. So, it's fine. It's fine. But apparently Sixtus felt ashamed of this for the rest of his papacy. And
ashamed of this? Just this?
Yes. But it did mean that when he fell out with Milan, as he inevitably did, Sixtus could rely on Neapolitan backing. So, silver lining. Yeah. His nephew, of course, Giovanni della Rovere, another one, was married to the daughter of the Duke of Urbino. And this led to della Rovere, Dukes of Urbino. And we saw in Michelangelo's episode that there was constant tussling between the della Rovere and the Medici for Urbino. So it's one marriage, and it just leads to decades and decades of resentment and battling. When he wanted Ferrara for one of his other nephews, his brothers and sisters must have been incredibly fecund. Sixtus encouraged Venice to attack Ercole d'Este, but Ferrara was backed by Milan, Florence and Naples. So an opposition that was too powerful for the papacy, and again Sixtus had to back down. And when Venice refused to back him in this enterprise, he put the city-state under interdict. And you get a lot of this with Sixtus. He tries to do something, it goes badly, and he retaliates in a rather petulant way. All right, then I'm just going to stick an interdict on you all. And the nephews were often the reason for dissension between the Pope and his cardinals. Because if you give away cardinalates for no other reason than family ties, it sort of belittles the title of cardinal. It's a bit like Caligula saying he's going to make his horse a senator. I mean, it just made being a senator ridiculous.
The horse Incitatus would like it to be pointed out he was made a consul, thank you very much.
Yes, sorry. Yes, that makes more sense. Much of the distrust of the nephews was that Sixtus, being an unworldly man, pretty much placed the running of the Vatican in the hands of those nephews. So when we hear about bad decisions that Sixtus makes, is it really him or is it the nephews? We don't know.
Yeah.
And we know that sometimes there's a clash of the nephews, and we see this in the run-up to the fight between Ferrara and Venice over salt. Girolamo Riario was all for piling into the war, and Giuliano della Rovere thought it was a big mistake. And he tried to tell Sixtus this, but he didn't like the way the Pope talked to him. So he thought, fine, if you're going to speak to me like that, I'm going home. Oh. And we saw in his episode he was prone to being a bit of a sulker. Several other cardinals announced that they were going to tell the Pope that they thought that this war was a bad idea, but none of them dared to do so, which does change the image of Sixtus being a kindly, spiritual type who wouldn't hurt a fly. Why wouldn't they dare speak to him? And it was Cardinal Cibo, not who spoke to the Pope, this Pope innocent-to-be. He went to Giuliano della Rovere and convinced him to change his mind and tell the Pope. Even Cibo wasn't going to go and tell the Pope directly. He said, all right, I'll do it. I'll go and talk to Giuliano. In fact, it didn't make any difference since Riario prevailed, as he very often did. But it's an interesting glimpse into a side of Sixtus's character that we haven't seen up to now. He could be a bit scary.
Yeah.
And we see Pope Julius as the enlarger of papal states. Mild-mannered Sixtus was also keen to extend and solidify his territory, and he wasn't above excommunicating anyone who got in his way with that. It's sort of the coward's weapon, isn't it? And not just excommunication, something we might consider much, much worse, although obviously in theory there's nothing worse than excommunication. We're talking about the territory of Imola. Sixtus wanted to add it to his papal territories, but the Medici were financing the transaction, and Lorenzo the Magnificent said no, it's too close to Florence. And Lorenzo seemed to have suspected Sixtus's motives. If he was after Imola now, where would he go from then? The Pope retaliated by withdrawing the papal account from the Medici Bank. And this was a major blow for the Medici. And you wonder why having any of these accounts is useful to any bank, because there never seems to be any money in the account, doesn't it? It's constantly made up of loans and debts. Instead, Sixtus put his money into the Pazzi Bank. And, Also, Sixtus appointed Salviati as the Archbishop of Pisa against Lorenzo's wishes. And guess what? He was one of Sixtus's nephews.
Well, I mean, what will he do when he runs out?
Yes. I think there's a sort of conveyor belt of Neapolitan princesses and papal nephews. And Sixtus then slapped an interdict on Florence. And to hear the full saga of this, there's a whole episode on the Pazzi conspiracy over on Patreon. But the bare bones of it is that the Pope conspired with the Pazzi, as well as Salviati, the Duke of Urbino, and Ferrante of Naples, and Girolamo Riario, to have Lorenzo put away for good. Yes, dealt with. And I'm sure that's the way the Pope said it, because he did try and keep some distance between what was actually happening and himself. But he had said, yes, all right, go on and do it.
Yes. You see, this man is rather inconvenient.
Kill him. Well, that's what happened during Mass. And I repeat, during Mass in the cathedral, there was an attempt on Lorenzo's life, and his brother was actually stabbed to death. And all hell broke loose. Florence rose up against the conspirators, which was a surprise for the Pope, because he'd thought they'd be happy to get rid of the Medici. He thought that everyone would be flocking to the Pope, saying, oh, thank you very much. Salviati, the Archbishop of Pisa, among others, was hanged from the windows of the Signoria. And to hear a really gruesome story about that, go over to Patreon.
Tudoriferous Patreon. Hot and spicy.
Go on. Everyone likes a gruesome story.
Yes. Oh, and that was one of the nephews, wasn't it? Salviati.
He's one of the nephews, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
And there's Raphael Riario was there. I think he's a grandnephew, or whatever you call the next one down. The whole of the Italian peninsula erupted, and we were amazed that from this one incident, so much destruction was unleashed. And this was the moment when Lorenzo took his trip down to Naples to read poetry to Ferrante and got Naples on his side.
Yeah.
So cardinals, at least non-nephew cardinals, and there were a few, began to feel that Sixtus was actually not the sweet old duffer they'd thought he was. I mean, this was a man who'd been part of a plot to assassinate the leader of another territory.
At Mass.
At Mass. And actually the job was done by a couple of priests.
I think we really do need to bring back an old catchphrase. And he's the Pope!
I think we've given up on that. I mean, I think we just say, well, of course, because he's the Pope. That's what he would do. Over to France, Sixtus had constant battles with Louis XI of France. His father, Charles VII, whom we also didn't like, had created the Pragmatic Sanction of Bourges, which claimed supremacy of the French council over the papacy. So any bulls announced by the Pope could be discussed and possibly ratified, or possibly not, by this council. And the Pope understandably felt very differently about this.
Yeah.
And as we heard in Innocent's episode, this was a problem that just ran and ran. I mean, you've got the Louis just digging his... He was good at digging his heels in and just saying, no,
Yes.
yeah. Yeah, we decide whether what you say is acceptable. And the Pope's saying, but I'm the Pope. I'm the Pope. Of course it's acceptable. But this isn't. 1478, and Pope Sixtus published the papal bull Exigit Sincerae Devotionis Affectus. And in Sixtus's defence, he didn't want to do it. He was pressured to do it by Ferdinand of Aragon. Or probably, I think, Isabella, but books I read all said Ferdinand.
Yeah.
And this was the papal bull that instigated the Spanish Inquisition.
Oh, dear.
Yes. I'm beginning to think, actually, Innocent was all right, wasn't he? Ferdinand threatened to withhold military aid for Sixtus's Italian campaigns. And also Sixtus could see that Spain was the up-and-coming nation, and it would be good to have them as an ally. And, you know, it's all good. It's saving souls. What could be wrong with that? But by issuing this bull, Sixtus had handed over the spiritual well-being, if that you can call it well-being, of a nation from the church to the court. Not good.
No.
The papal bull had given the right to authorise their own inquisitors to Isabella and Ferdinand, although it did have suggestions about what sort of people they should be. Quote, bishops or others with dignified official positions, regular or secular priests, aged 40 or over, who believed in God, I wouldn't have thought that needed putting in, but there we go, possessed good characters and were from honourable families, and were masters of bachelors of theology or possessors of degrees in canon law, unquote. Ferdinand and Isabella sat on this bull for 2 years, and we're told the reason for this was squeamishness in the Queen's entourage about using force. Maybe it's true. If so, did Isabella feel the squeamishness?
Maybe the bull arrived and they just passed it around, all the courtiers passed it around between themselves for 2 years. Don't show it to Isabella.
Well, the Archbishop of Mendoza sent out a catechism to all priests, telling them to instruct their congregations, especially the new Christians, in the Word of God. I mean, that's what priests are there for. Why do they? I'd have thought that was day one of priest school. But anyway, maybe Isabella was giving the conversos 2 years to show they could do it. And only when it turned out that some of them were still clinging to their faith in secret, as we saw in Gracia Mendez Nazi's episode, did the Inquisition kick in. You know, they couldn't be punished for ignorance, but given enough time to learn their catechism, they could be punished for recidivism.
Yeah.
And they were. In 1481, the first auto de fe happened. So there were 700 executions, often by fire, and thousands were condemned to life imprisonment. Yeah, it hit the ground running, really.
Yeah.
Relatives of the victims, and remember that included Dr. de Puebla, whose daughter had been arrested, got in touch with Sixtus to tell him what was happening, and he was horrified. He said he'd been too hasty agreeing to the Inquisition, and it had gone much further than he'd anticipated. and the perpetrators of it were abusing their powers, and there should be a recourse to an appeal in Rome. So there he is, he's digging his heels in.
Mm-hmm.
It looked as if Sixtus was going to revoke the Inquisition's right to appoint their own inquisitors, but sadly he bowed down to diplomatic pressure.
Yeah.
And it will have been pointed out to him that by issuing that papal bull, he had abdicated responsibility for any of this. But he said there should be some changes. Inquisitors to report to bishops, to tell them what they were up to. The names of the accused should not be kept secret, and there should be a chance to appeal to Rome. Ferdinand, the Catholic monarch, capital C, capital M, said no. No. He didn't accept these conditions. He would appoint the inquisitors. And again, Sixtus bowed down to pressure. He compromised and said if the defendants couldn't appeal to Rome, they should appeal to the Archbishop of Seville, Pedro de Mendoza. Sixtus wasn't entirely a pushover. I know it sounds as if he is. In Aragon, Ferdinand had not only been appointing his own inquisitors, but actually replacing some of the diocesan inquisitors with people of his own choosing. And Sixtus was furious. In October 1482, he suspended all inquisitorial activities in Aragon. This lasted a year, but then Sixtus agreed to appoint his own Grand Inquisitor of Castile. And it was Torquemada.
Oh, God. And also, I mean, Aragon, whilst I'm sure they could find plenty of people to persecute in Aragon, really it was, the formerly Moorish lands where a lot of conversos were. So in Aragon, it wouldn't have been as big a deal, if he suspended everything. So, we'll just carry on down south then for a bit.
Yeah. And Aragon, if you remember, was much more democratic because Ferdinand had to read out the thing that said, I'm no better than you are. All right, I might be king, but you're just as good as me and all the rest of it. So probably it was a bit harder for him just to say, right, I'm just going to ignore all of this because other people have a say.
So yes, Torquemada, oh dear.
Yeah, I mean, at least a religious person was appointing the inquisitor. But he appointed Torquemada. And the whole thing was a disaster for many reasons. And many people were saying that Sixtus had lost his moral high ground. Yeah. And we might do an episode on the Spanish Inquisition. We're sort of bracing ourselves for it.
Oh no.
I think we could do it without going into torture and things, just why it was there. And...
Yeah.
Anyway, slavery.
Oh, good, bit of light relief.
Well, if anything, this reflects even worse on Sixtus than it did on Innocent. In 1481, Sixtus issued a bull entitled Aeterni Regis, and it was pre-Columbus, so it didn't include the Americas, but it gave the Portuguese the right to Africa and eastward to the Indies. And Spain at this point got the Canary Islands. The Portuguese were lucky in their timing, in that Spain was taken up with fighting the Ottomans in Granada, or the Muslims in Granada. England had its homegrown problems, the War of the Roses. France was busy with Italy. The Portuguese had a free run into Africa and beyond. And we could give Sixtus the benefit of the doubt and say that his edict threatening excommunication to any ship's captains who enslaved Christians was intended to mean they should convert the people they came across. Don't enslave them, convert them. That was the thinking behind it, but he was being very naive.
Yeah.
Because the captains took it to mean, don't convert them, enslave them. Because they won't be Christians, they're heathens. And if they aren't converts, they must have resisted conversion, so they got it coming. So, yeah. We don't know, was that Sixtus, was that the nephews, but somebody ought to have said to him, you do realise how ambiguous this is.
No, I'm sure all of these captains can perfectly pass the Latin.
And they're bound to go for the more moral option. Right, Sixtus has a chance to redeem himself here a bit with his building campaign. Apart from the Sistine Chapel, which, despite being the most famous thing he did, he only finished it. It'd already been started. It wasn't his idea. He did build a Sistine Bridge, and that was the first bridge built over the Tiber in Rome since ancient Roman times. And he rebuilt 30 churches in Rome, which had fallen into dilapidation. His plan was a complete rethink of Rome, enlarging and paving the thoroughfares. Unfortunately, this meant knocking down some of those annoying impediments that had been cluttering up the streets since ancient Roman times.
Oh.
Forum there, a few porticos. Get rid of that amphitheatre.
Oh, I do remember when first time I went to Rome years and years ago, every time we went into an ancient building that was still standing, our tourist guide said, "And why is it still here?" And the call and response was, "It's now a church."
Right, not because it wasn't on one of the thoroughfares that Sixtus was.
Literally, the Pantheon is now a church, technically, and they've put this tiny little altar there, but otherwise I'm just letting everything get on with it.
Sixtus had an interest in science, to the extent that he issued a papal bull giving bishops the right to hand over the bodies of executed criminals and unknown people, which I didn't think was very fair, to physicians and artists for dissection. I mean, now, you can't really imagine, I've never been to arts college, I don't know what it's like, but if you go to the Slade, do you get given bodies to dissect? I would have thought so.
No, it's a strange thought, isn't it? That, nowadays people are fine with painting from life, but oh no, that would be immoral. Take the body of this beggar instead.
Yes.
We don't know who he is, it's fine.
Well, we've heard how both Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo went in for dissection, and so this was the bull that enabled them to do it. So, a good thing, bad thing, I'm not entirely sure. I just don't much like this unknown person bit. Yeah. I mean, it's not very nice about executed criminals, but, The Julian calendar. And we go on off a bit of a sidetrack here. Regiomontanus was a mathematician, astronomer and astrologer, and he went to the University of Leipzig at the age of 11, which, even for that time, I suspect was pretty early. He joined the household of the papal legate Bessarion, later to be Cardinal Bessarion, and we've come across him before. Name ring any bells?
Cardinal Bessarion. No.
We've had a lot of names. He adopted the Paleologos kids, Andreas, Zoe and Manuel, when they fled Constantinople.
Yeah.
And this was great for Regiomontanus, since Bessarion had the largest private library in Europe. Much of it brought from Constantinople when he had to get out.
Yes. Sorry, that's a strange image in my head now. Here are my scrolls from Byzantium, and here are the Emperor's children here on their shelf.
Regiomontanus then worked for Janos Vites, again, the archbishop who rebelled against Martin Corvinus. Matthias Corvinus. Why do I keep calling him Martin? Matthias Corvinus. And from there, he went to the court of Corvinus, where he became the court astrologer, although his real love was astronomy. And we talked about him, actually, in the Corvinus episodes. And I could say an awful lot more about Regiomontanus, because he's a very interesting character, but it's not his episode, so I'll get to the point at last. 1475, he was called to Rome by Sixtus to work on calendar reform, because he'd already published a work called Calendarium. So he was going to be the one who would finally get the calendar sorted out. Because, I mean, they'd known since, well, we know they'd known since the 8th century it was all out of sync. Probably before that, but that's when we know it was. And Sixtus decided to bite the bullet and said, right, okay, let's get this sorted. Sadly, Regiomontanus had only been in Rome for a few months when he died. Possibly poisoned by a fellow scholar, but probably plague. So, yeah, Sixtus, he nearly did something really good then.
Yeah. And then if it had happened before the Reformation, at least we wouldn't have had all this.
We'd have been in with it, wouldn't we? Instead of saying, no, we're an island, we don't have the same time as you.
Well, we weren't as stubborn as the Russians. who didn't adopt the Gregorian calendar until post-revolution.
Oh, didn't they?
No.
I didn't know that.
That's why the October Revolution is in November.
Oh, yes. Oh, right. Yeah, that makes sense. Well, this project wasn't taken up again until the 1540s. So, one of the people who was very keen on it was Dr. John Dee.
Hey.
Yeah. Yeah. Good old John Dee.
He'll be a long time coming, but we're looking forward.
Yes. He's one of these characters. He's like Maximilian. He just makes all of the wrong decisions, and you just think, oh, no, don't do that. Anyway, yeah, years to come. We know a fair amount about the last year or so of Sixtus's life, since this is where Burchet's diary kicks in.
Oh, young, bright-eyed Burchet, fresh from having stolen that sword.
Yes, fresh from having thrown out of Strasbourg.
But I'm sure it'll all be wonderful here. Everyone will follow all the rules.
Well, Sixtus might have done. Maybe he was sort of lulled into it by Sixtus, thinking, oh, this is great. All I've got to do is tell people what to do, and they do it. For as long as he thinks I'm his nephew, that's fine. The envoy of the Medici family summed up Sixtus's reign, quote, "Today at 5 o'clock, His Holiness Sixtus IV departed this life. May God forgive him," unquote. I quite like that on my headstone. It just, people will think, oh, there must be a story behind that. And as we've seen again and again with these popes, as soon as it looks as if the old pope is on his way out, Rome erupts in violence.
Yeah.
And it shows how much Sixtus was disliked, since as soon as he died, the palatial homes of his relatives were ransacked and burned. And cardinals were chased through the streets, which I have to admit is quite an amusing image.
Yes.
Hoisting up their skirts as they run.
Well, no wonder all their homes are wrecked in burns. They've got everything by this point.
Giuliano della Rovere escaped to Ostia, where he waited for it all to quieten down. Sixtus's tomb was destroyed during the sack of Rome, and his bones now lie with his nephew, Pope Julius, in St. Peter's, which is how it should be. I mean, yeah, he should be surrounded by his nephews. So he's another pope who died in the summer, since all the popes seem to die in the summer.
Well, it is very hot.
It is. And they tend to be quite tubby as well, these popes, don't they? So, and probably overdressed. Yes. Sixtus's unpopularity was largely the reason why Cibo was elected to become Pope Innocent, because he hadn't offended anyone. Mainly because hardly anyone would have known who he was.
Yes.
He was very much, oh, for goodness sake, let's elect someone who isn't a Riario or a Della Rovere, and maybe people will stop looting our houses.
Well, I mean, Sixtus was elected because he's not one of the main families. We can deal with him. Oh, no, he's become one of the main families.
Yes.
Oh, right,
yeah, that's what they don't take into account, isn't it? I see Sixtus as a man who started out as a decent man, learned and holy, and he was corrupted either by power or by the influence of his nephews. I'm not sure which. He found that the papacy is actually quite a dirty business. It's not all just what do you do? What's that?
Benediction.
Not all benedictions, yes. Decisions had to be made that the young Francesco della Rovere wouldn't have made, but the older Pope Sixtus found it increasingly easy to make. And I felt that how it all ended up was probably not how he'd envisaged it when he became Pope, because the Spanish Inquisition quickly got out of control and out of his control, and he was obviously distressed by this. He was most distressed by the fact that he'd lost control of it, I think, rather than the actual deeds. And his papal bull about the colonisation was intended to facilitate the conversion of Africans, not something we may agree with now, but at the time it would have been seen as an admirable thing. But it ended up as a carte blanche for slavery. Yeah. Something I didn't touch upon was the sale of indulgences. They'd always been sold, but the money was meant to go towards religious subjects. When he was using the money to pay for weddings, people felt it really wasn't on.
No, you shouldn't be spending that on your family. You're spending it on decent Christian stuff like crusades.
Well, I suppose quite a lot of it was probably going off to Corvinus and then sort of disappearing and to Frederick. The Vatican had become something of a totalitarian state. Sixtus didn't take criticism well. Any dissenting cardinals were got rid of, and I presume it meant they were stripped of their cardinalship and not got rid of.
I think if we know about the Patsy conspiracy, that implies it's not happening to everybody.
Yes. Bishops were put under house arrest if they didn't toe the line, and the Curia actually became a very sinister place to be. Again, was this Sixtus or was this his nephew? I can see them sort of strutting down the corridors with their robes flying, like some sort of gang, waving chains and punching one fist into their hands.
Especially if there were 6 of them.
Yes.
Going down the corridors, the Vatican.
Well, I thought, the term the nephews, it sounds very Orwellian as well, doesn't it? Oh my God, it's the nephews.
The nephews. Well, at least people got used to it by the time for Cesare.
Yes. Well, as we said when we did Innocent, if we didn't, we should have done. I didn't actually check. But it was the excesses of these popes that pushed people towards Protestantism. If we'd had a series of really nice, godly popes who didn't upset anyone and didn't drag their family into the thing, would Protestantism have taken hold as quickly as it did?
Well, I mean, there've been lots of sort of proto-Protestants earlier, and it hadn't worked out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's...
Yeah, can we blame Sixtus? I think we blamed Innocent, so we might as well blame Sixtus.
Yeah.
And there's one other thing I found out about him that didn't fit in anywhere else, but I liked it. He was a specky four eyes. He wore specs. Which, in my opinion, automatically makes him more intelligent.
Yes, naturally.
Naturally, yes. So I'm imagining this sort of really endearing old man, perhaps a cardie, got his specs on the end of his nose, he's got his slippers on, and you think, oh, isn't he nice? And then you sort of feel this frisson of fear in the Vatican, and you realise, no, this is the spider sitting in his web. It's terrifying everybody. So, yeah, I ended up not seeing him the way I'd started out seeing him. Which I quite like.
Yeah, well, that's the point, isn't it?
Yeah.
It just fine turns out he's exactly what you thought. It's a little dull.
Yes, exactly what you thought. So I'm not going to bother telling you about him. Yes. So that's it. That's that Pope with his nephews. And just in time, because my things ran out of battery.
Oh, gosh. Well, then we better very quickly say thank you so much for listening, and goodbye.